everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm Anna, and this is Kristen. We're holding this focus group, and we're going to be talking about the Nike ad and the Colin Kaepernick
Controversy.
Yeah. So I just want to go around, and maybe you guys could like introduce yourself, name, major, something, a fun fact.
I'm Patrick, marketing major. Fun fact.
Yeah. Or anything.
I like sports.
Okay.
That's a good one. I'm Brian. Brown, my major is marketing. I guess a fun fact is I don't like Colin Kaepernick.
There you go. Brian, I'm a marketing major. Fun fact, I love golf and tennis.
Katrina, I'm a management major, and fun fact is I'm from New York.
I'm James, I'm a marketing major. I'm also from New York. That's my fun fact.
I'm Emily, I'm a marketing major, and I also don't like Colin Kaepernick. Okay.
All right, we're just gonna get started with some just like basic questions. How many of you have played sports? And then can we just go around and you could say what sports
Sure.
you do play?
I played baseball in high school, football, boxing.
I did baseball and football.
I did lacrosse in high school and football in middle school.
I did track.
I did baseball and wrestling and third soccer.
I did lacrosse, field hockey, and basketball.
Is anyone doing like a sport now in college?
No.
When you think of sports, what companies like come to mind?
Adidas,
Nike,
Nike,
Under
Under
Armour.
Armour.
Under Armour.
Under Armour, yeah.
Do you guys like all own Adidas or Under Armour, Nike?
Nike.
I own a little bit of
Nike.
each brand.
Nike
Yeah.
shoes.
I own
Yeah,
a little bit of
shoes.
each brand.
What do you think about when you hear Nike? Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Just do it.
Shoes.
Shoes, I have to say shoes as well.
Shoes, yeah.
Famous athletes.
That's a good one too.
Or, yeah.
Are there any particular famous athletes that come to mind?
Nope. Just famous athletes.
Nope.
Yeah. Oh,
I
same.
feel like Tiger Woods for sure.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
growing up, like I would see like Tiger Woods.
So when you're thinking of the athletes, do you like, and then you think of ads, like what ads from Nike do you like ever think of?
Definitely the just do
Just
it.
Shoot.
Yeah.
I was
And
just
a lot of football ads, too.
That's what it is.
I like the. You ever seen the Michael Jordan failure one?
No.
It's a good.
Oh,
Where he's like, I
that's
failed
weird.
over
I just
and
feel
over
like they're
again.
all-
That is why I succeed.
They're all
no, I
pretty
think I did see
powerful.
that
Like
one,
they
yeah.
all have
They
like
are
a
very
pretty
loud.
like yeah.
Yeah, they're right. Yeah.
They're motivational.
Yeah.
For sure.
Very
Or they're trying to
motivational.
get a message across or something like that.
Inspire people.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the next question. So then we go on to what are your thoughts on Colin Kaepernick?
I know a lot of
In
you guys
general?
It's
just
very,
didn't
like,
like him.
Yeah.
Or just about his like.
Just in
whole-
general.
general.
In general.
I mean, like, for me, it's like I understand where he's coming from, and like, in terms like, is there like police brutality? Yes, there is. And then, am I okay with there being some form of rally or like something along that, where or a protest? But it's just a matter of like when and where that's appropriate.
Right.
You know,
Like,
like,
is it the right platform? to
is
be
it the
doing
right
that?
platform? Yeah, during a
I
football
respect
game.
him for like
That's what-
standing up for like what he believes in,
Yeah.
but definitely like how he did it, where he did it, when he did it. Taking a knee during the national anthem,
Yeah.
kind of like disrespecting your country in a certain way.
Yeah, that's
definitely
how
had
I
a
feel.
Yeah.
bitter
I don't
taste in people's
necessarily
mouth.
think it's disrespectful to the country.
I think to a sense because for
Yeah.
if you're standing for you're honoring troops and
Troops, yeah, the military.
It's not just standing up for what's going on with the police and stuff like that.
Like
You're
there's
honoring
veteran
yeah,
football
exactly.
players.
You're honoring like,
There's a different way to
Yeah.
protest it. I just don't think you should be doing it on national
Like,
TV.
during
That's
a
his
national-
job.
during
Yeah.
during a
You would
national
do that
anthem.
during
So
Good
what in
job.
your mind is the right way to protest?
Maybe just speak out
On your own
after
time.
games. Yeah, speak out. Maybe use Twitter, use social media platforms to express how you feel, but definitely like not during like a national anthem or something where it could offend so many people.
I'm read into it, and at first he would like sit on the bench, I guess, and then he moved to just like the knee because he was saying that was still like
It needs, like,
showing
a
his
little more
pride like, to the
respectful, I
people
feel
that
like.
served, but I think it still gave off like a negative
I
image.
think more people got annoyed because more people started following him too.
Yeah.
Like more players started following him. That really, aggravated people to an extent.
And
I
there
feel
were
like another thing that also ticked people off was when he was wearing socks that had police officers dressed as pigs.
oh really?
Yeah, that's just so disrespectful.
Yeah, that's I feel like it's different. That's that kneeling for national anthem, because like I feel like soldiers like, die for that right to kind of choose how to protest, but then that's just like going like just to like an extreme left side, which is like
You're not proving
And you're also
anything.
disrespecting, the police. I mean, yeah, there are, crooked cops, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, there's
there's also,
bad cops.
good,
There's
hard-
good cops,
hardworking
yeah.
police officers that are, defending their lives, putting their lives on the line each day, for our safety, and, that's just disrespecting them in a kind of way by, wearing socks like pigs, as cops.
I kind of feel bad for like police officers in general because it's probably like scary to go, if you're like a good police officer, like to go out and do your job every day is probably scary because you think
For
that
sure.
everybody has that like general opinion of you that you're crooked and you're, you
Yeah,
know?
and also, I mean, now they get that perception that, they are, crooked and everything like that, when, there are a lot of people that are, good, hardworking, police officers.
I think because it's also broadcasted on national television, it influences a lot of children and a lot of young people, and like they don't really know better, and I don't know.
Right.
Right, yeah.
They think that's like their way.
Because
They
he's
should
doing it,
show like
yeah.
their pride and like an issue. I feel.
Yeah.
It definitely took a lot of respect away from the police officers.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely undeserving.
In my view too, it also took some respect away from the U.S. military, just not present and past.
Yeah.
Because the national anthem is to show respect for the military. And kneeling down is like, no, I don't want to respect them.
Yeah.
I don't want to like respect this country. The guys who fought World War I, World War II, no.
Like
The guys who like fought for our freedom and made this country what it is.
Yeah, there's definitely other ways to, stand up for what you want other than
Yeah.
disrespecting
Yeah.
your whole country, basically.
I mean, there are some players who stay in the locker room, which I think is more respectful than kneeling on the field.
Yeah.
But why during the national anthem? I just don't get it.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
like
get
they're
that.
saying
Why
like we
they're
don't
like
it's
respect.
supposed to be like I feel like
Go
that's
against
a lot of
certain
people
certain
are watching.
like, I don't think
morals.
it's standing against America. I think it's just like
What's
the
wrong with
national
America
anthem
right now?
like represents like American
Yeah, but-
freedom and equal rights, and if you believe that not everyone's receiving
yeah.
equal rights, you
Maybe
kneel.
maybe he's not like trying to disrespect America, but show like what's wrong with America, like things that are wrong, right now in the country that should change and fix. But
Right, like they could like what Pat's saying, like they could do like something on Twitter or YouTube,
Yeah,
videos
social
of them and their
media.
friends. They can even
Or post
do
game,
a
talk
commercial
about
with a
it.
company if they wanted to, like a commercial.
Or I mean, you always have media in your face. You can talk to the media about it. And
Yeah.
you
What about like if like
but-
Rosa Parks, who's an advocate, what if you were like, that's not the right way, sitting it was at the front of the bus.
Back of the
Back
room.
of the
Well,
room.
no, they made her sit in the back, but
They
then
made
she
it
sat
the back.
in
The front was cool because I always get confused.
Front
'cause,
was
like,
cool.
I thought it was back was cool when I was a kid, but like I feel like if you were like to her like that's not the right way to protest.
Yeah.
But I feel like if there's any way that's not violent, it's fine, in my opinion.
Right.
And that's your opinion. Like I respect
Yeah.
I disagree. What is your opinion?
I don't know. I mean, for me, I don't even know if I should go there. But like, the bus and like where they're sitting on the bus is like something they formulated over like how long has the national anthem been here? Like that's like as long as the country's been here since like the Civil War,
Probably.
Revolutionary War. So like they're also like protesting the guys who fought in like the Civil War, like free slaves possibly. Like maybe they're not aware of that. I'm not sure, but I mean it's just I don't know. To me it just seemed disrespectful. I see that differently.
I think there's a lot of ignorance surrounding everything. Like everybody doesn't know all the facts of everything that goes on, or like whatever.
Yeah,
so they just
they-
act out of emotion or
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
and they just aren't thinking about everybody else, but then there's also the other side where people are like, he's not trying to be disrespectful to the national anthem, or the veterans or anything like that, so you shouldn't take it that way. Like, how would you
Right.
feel about that? But it's like, how are you not supposed to take it that way?
Yeah, that's,
Like, choose another place, just like we said.
yeah, choose another place, choose a different way
Choose a
to.
different platform.
A different platform, yeah, I mean, like, you could march down Washington DC to the White House and like that, that's okay with me, like, that's how they did it, I don't know, like,
He
Well,
needed to do
usually
something
marches-
more like direct to like
Yeah.
what he wanted to protest.
Yeah, look how much
Right.
controversy he got.
Not
That's
You know what I mean? Like,
that's,
Yeah,
that's,
that's
I
right.
think, yeah.
Because definitely did that.
Because it is
Definitely
illegal
got
here,
attention.
what he was doing,
Yeah.
so that's why
Yeah, it
people
is.
are definitely annoyed with him.
But it doesn't have anything to do with the military, it's just like the police,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
the, okay, alright.
because he didn't
I
have a
just-
problem when I guess like the manager of his football team asked that instead of like sitting on the bench, could you kneel? And he was like, yeah, because I want to respect the men and women that served. So he knew that, but he still
Well,
like
was it-
disrespected them because he wasn't standing.
Wasn't it a protest against like Black Lives Matter though?
Yeah.
That's what he was protesting,
Yeah.
right? So.
And police brutality.
Yeah.
What about the
when
whole?
he was protesting against Black Lives
Well,
Matter.
and for Black Lives
Oh,
Matter.
Yeah,
for it,
for it.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
I was like,
against it.
damn, that's a plot twist. It's like, I didn't know that.
And this, yeah, please give me the words back, but.
Sorry.
What about the whole collusion? Remember, the teams, like he's like suing all the NFL
Yeah,
teams
so
because
with
of
that,
collusion.
yeah, we got because that he believes like, which
They-
I agree with, that he's at least good enough to be like a backup quarterback, but like no teams want to hire him because
The controversy.
the controversy that he comes with, and
He's a great player, don't get me wrong. it's
he's
just-
decent. He made it to the AFC Championship, which
No, I don't think any team's gonna take him just because of what comes with him.
Mhm.
That's like,
Like there's plenty of other like good football players.
which you're not allowed to do
Which is
because that's
unfortunate.
basically going against someone's political views, not hiring him because they're
Well, I
political.
feel like
No, it's
definitely
not.
teams feel like maybe they'll lose, revenue, from ticket sales because people don't wanna see him,
I don't think it's going
kneeling.
against their political views at all, though. I think it's like you're going against him, like causing controversy, like while he's at his job. Like, do you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, you're right, your place of
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, that's his work. Like
But
if we
it-
were to go to work and like kneel, like if I were to go to the restaurant that I work at and kneel in the middle of the restaurant and say I'm not doing anything because you don't pay me enough, they're not gonna hire me. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same thing.
But he's still doing something. He would play football and he just kneel. So that's what I'm saying. Is like if you were
but
protesting
it's all
on
part of
a
it.
political issue, but you were still doing
That's
your
the
job.
thing. But that's,
know what I'm
in my,
saying?
here, I'll just share my opinion, cause that's what we're doing, we're sharing our opinion. Since, I don't think how, I would hear what, I don't think how he did it was the most effective way, and I think one of the cons of how he did it is that there is a, impression that he made when he kneeled during the national anthem in the stadium, right? It got everyone's attention, definitely brought a lot of attention to the matter, what he was protesting, right? But then also the negative that came with that is that a lot of people misperceived why he was doing it. And the very act of doing it comes with a misperception. And that misperception carries with it, that misperception carries with it an atmosphere,
A negative, like,
an, I can't find the word right now, but it's just like, it means something to a lot of people. And what he meant doesn't, that's why you have to, like in school, like, be very careful, like, how you say something, because what you mean by what you say isn't always how someone's gonna interpret it. Like,
Yeah.
you wanna be very articulate, especially when you write, like, because someone may misinterpret what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So what he meant was that he's against police brutality and he wants Black Lives Matter, but a lot of people, when you kneel during the national anthem, it means something completely different. And that means something completely different. And though I'm sure a lot of NFL coaches might agree with what Kaepernick is saying and would stand behind him had he worded it differently, let's say.
Or done it in a
And
different
since, had he done it in a different way. But since he kneeled during the national anthem, it carries with it so much more. And to a lot of people, and they don't want to say, they don't want to endorse that. They don't want to say, yeah, that's like, they don't want to use improper grammar, I guess another analogy, like when
But
you
you
write,
okay, but
They
you
want to be
said
politically correct. They just
I
like
guess
don't.
politically correct.
you
yeah.
said it was misperceived by people,
Yeah.
but his intention was a non-violent protest.
During work, during the national anthem.
Yes, and whether or not you agree with it, it's
But
still
that
a
was his
non-violent
perception,
protest.
yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but then why are people like burning their shoes and everything? Obviously it meant something different than what Kaepernick intended it to mean. Like he wanted a non-violent protest, right? But when people see someone kneeling, that means something completely different. It doesn't, at that point it doesn't matter what he meant.
Yeah,
That's,
it's just how people perceive it.
yeah, it's how people are gonna perceive it. So like, and that's a cultural thing. Like the military are super stringent in terms of like respect, and like they have all this code of ethics, and that just meant something what he did not intend it to mean. And it's very hard to change that, obviously.
I think
It
other
has been
companies,
very hard for him to change that.
they like don't want to take on that perception that people have of him. Even
Yeah.
though that's not what
Even
he
it's
meant.
a misperception.
Yeah, they
it
just
still
don't wanna
carries
take-
over to that, and
Yeah.
then it just wouldn't. I can't really find.
Okay,
words
so
right now.
now let me just play devil's advocate. And
Yeah,
that's
I was just going. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go back to the Rosa Parks thing, right? Rosa Parks protest, and people say like, "Hey, this lady hates white people because look what she's doing," right? And that's a misperception of the people, whether or not that's her perception or not. Now, if she goes into a job, can they legally say, "No, we can't hire you because people misperceive you as being racist against white people"?
But she wasn't at her job.
Was
And
like.
she wasn't kneeling
that
during the
was-
national anthem.
Well, say it again.
Okay.
So
Alright.
misperceive.
So people misperceive her actions as being racist against white people because she's challenging what is normal in society, right?
On a bus.
On a bus at
Not
that
during
time.
the national anthem.
On a bus, yes.
Alright, okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
Now, because of that, now she goes into a job and says, I'd like to be a clerk here, we'll say.
Yeah.
They say we can't do that because there is a misperception that you are
To me
and
that
they-
makes sense. To me that makes sense.
Doesn't make
that they
sense to
can't
me.
hire. So
No.
you're saying that
No, I'm not agreeing with you. I'm saying I'm agreeing with
you're
the clerk.
agreeing that to not hire her.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
just
Because
to play
of the
devil's advocate
misperception.
right here.
Yeah.
Now, I
But I'm
personally
not
think,
saying.
I personally think Colin Kaepernick's wrong, but I just think that he was the first person to do it. He was he set the tone, and that's why he's facing the repercussions. Like there were other players who did take kneel, like
Yeah, there was
kneel
quite a
during-
few, like
yes.
about like
But
five.
they, like whole team, they
Yeah.
now realize that like after Colin Kaepernick did it and he lost his job, they're not kneeling anymore because they want to have their job. But at the time, there's a lot of people who were doing it, following Colin's like way he wanted to protest and everything.
Right.
And they were supporting him. But now, ever since like he hasn't been hired, there hasn't been really anyone doing it. But
Now I want to go into like the actual ad that did come out with
Okay.
Colin on it, and when it came out, like what were your thoughts?
What was it?
I didn't really watch the whole ad. I mean, I saw the
It was like
so-
stand for,
Something even means
Even if it means
sacrificing
sacrifice,
everything.
yeah.
so meaning like he stood up for Black Lives or whatever, and he lost his coat
Job is career,
Yeah.
basically.
and like nobody will hire him now. I just think that he could have done it in a different way. I'm just still gonna stick to that. I don't think he would have lost his job if he would have done it on his own time and a different platform. And
Yeah.
I mean, he had to have thought about that. I'm sure he has like a whole
I
team of
guess
people
he
around
really
him.
got the attention of the whole country because people, even if they just supported him or they were against him, he got the attention of the people that
Right.
what he was standing up for. So I guess he got his point across. But he also sacrificed everything in the mix of it. So.
what are your thoughts on like Nike using him? Like I read up that he was like on Nike's contract to do an ad for like 6 years before this, and like they finally used him. So what were your thoughts about?
Well, I think it was a smart move for them because their sales raised a lot.
Right.
So I mean, it was a very good business move for them.
Yeah.
But now they've lost some customers that, but
Right,
obviously
but
it
it
doesn't
doesn't
matter to them.
affect them,
They're
Yeah,
still
it
making a
leveled
lot more
out
money than they were.
more positive.
It just made noise, I think, for the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't
And
really, I wasn't like, I didn't go and like throw out my Nike shoes or anything, like,
Yeah, bro.
I was fine, like, I was really fine with it. I don't have a problem with Kaepernick. It's just, I think the protest could have been done more efficiently. I think it wasn't efficient, and that it offended a lot of people, and that it's not what he intended to do, and that carried with it a lot of weight that he didn't intend or anticipate, or anyone would have
Or
or wanted.
think through, you didn't think it through.
Possibly.
But wouldn't you think, like I just said, like he would have like a team of people like surrounding him, like a manager, people like don't do that, like
I
that's
think he
gonna.
just kind of did it on his own.
Like,
Yeah.
But I wonder how it went down, like if they even did say something like that to him.
There's probably discussion behind closed
Yeah.
doors, like, hey, you should do kneel again
Maybe it's
next
not a
game,
good
but
time.
he
Got that knee pad ready.
Yeah.
Right on down.
Once the music went on, he went right to that left knee. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, here, I'm gonna go down to
Right,
the
the
knee right
camera's
now.
probably like zoomed in on
Yeah.
him, like
Oh, say,
expected him.
is that it? How's it going?
Yeah.
It is that right? Okay.
That's the beginning.
Instead of hearing that, he was like, all right, knee.
Now, what do you think Nike wanted to like accomplish using him for this ad?
Like, do we think that those are their views as well? Like, the
Well,
thing
what
that
are your
they sh-
thoughts? Is that what you think?
I
That was
think,
like the
I think
message
what
behind it.
Nike's message was, you know, express your, express how you feel, just don't be quiet,
Yeah.
if you feel a way, say something, express it, so I think that's what they were trying to get out of that ad.
I feel like maybe they did like a poll of if there's like more left wing people versus right wing people, maybe for like buyers of Nike. Probably the majority of people who support Kaepernick are like left wing.
Probably because
so-
sales spiked.
So they probably were like, well, let's just get like an extreme left wing
Yeah.
person on this side, and then we'll just boost sales.
Right.
Yeah, like if we
You
lose a
know.
couple people, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because,
Cause we'll gain more.
yeah.
Yeah, they did gain a lot. Games to almost 27%.
Yeah, it was a lot. And like I guess like after this ad was released, like there was like things were just sold out like online on Nike.
That's crazy.
And
So,
this ad
believe
also
it.
came out like the day after like their 30th anniversary of like the Just Do It
Mhm.
campaign. So like there was a lot of hype. So the fact that they used like this to
So
like
it's definitely
honor
smart.
that.
I mean, to me, like, it meant, like, stand up for what you believe, stand up for yourself, don't forget, like, where you came from, your upbringing, your culture, even if that means, do it despite the consequences.
Well, where did he come from?
I don't know.
He came from an upper class family.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Where
I forget where it was, but he did not have a tough upbringing.
Well, then I guess he
Well, I
was
guess,
living
I
Not
guess,
that that really
I guess
matters,
what,
I'm just
what
saying.
Yeah, no,
also
it
means
doesn't
if you
matter.
have the platform, speak up, if
Yeah.
he has that platform,
He
he's
has
an
that
NFL
platform.
player,
Yeah.
people are watching him, millions of people watching him every week, so
Right.
he has a platform to do it, so, and if you believe in something, say something.
Yeah.
Stand up for what you believe in, and
Right.
if you have that platform, take advantage of it.
Right.
I guess that's what like Nike was saying.
I wonder if
Yeah,
Nike's
that's
Yeah.
Nike's view on it, like if you stand up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is their view,
I know-
or if
I
they
know
were
worry
really
about
just trying to
whether
get
people-
Well, a lot of
sales.
companies don't say their political views because they don't want to lose sales.
Right. But in their case,
I
they
think
like
it was
lost
just
on
going with their
Nike.
campaign, just do it, because they had Colin Kaepernick.
Right, yeah.
Just doing
Yeah,
his
just doing his
political.
thing.
Yeah.
Now, do you think like there were like 5 other players that also also like supported this. Like they would kneel during.
There were teams.
Yeah,
teams,
yeah,
there were
and
whole teams that
Even in
did
high
it.
school, like high school teams were doing
High school
it.
teams,
Yeah.
college teams, yeah.
The
and,
cheerleaders,
For a while, there was a bunch
Yeah.
of different.
Before?
just like
Or after?
No,
During,
during-
during,
During,
yeah,
after.
during like,
Yeah.
all
first
happened.
year,
There
like
was,
that.
a couple high school kids who did it and they were
Yeah.
kicked off the team.
There was a big riot in the NFL of, some managers saying if anybody kneels during the national anthem, you will be, fired.
Yeah,
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones was like, if anybody kneels during the game, I will release you on the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the first person to say it.
And he's a Texas,
Yeah. You better be standing.
Patriot.
old white guy from Texas.
Yeah.
You know,
people in Texas are like.
Just if you knew about Colin Kaepernick before that, and just like, what did you think about him before all the controversy?
I thought he was
Well,
a
before the controversy and him kneeling, he was a great quarterback.
good football player.
I agree with that.
Like you said, he made us the championship.
People knew his name, people
Yeah.
knew who he was,
A lot of hype around him, but I mean, there's still a lot of hype around him now.
he's definitely not good enough to be a starter, but he's probably good enough to be a backup.
I feel like some people, yeah.
I mean, just from him
disagree,
doing it,
yeah.
kind of ruined his career, so I don't know if he's still practicing
Right.
still.
Yeah.
Well, he probably
maybe
made his
if he
name even
is.
bigger by doing it, so.
Do we know
I
what he's
think
doing now? Like,
Cause you probably wouldn't
Working for
even be
Nike.
talking about Colin Kaepernick now, like let's say he retired,
He's
not
kneeling.
even taking his stand, probably wouldn't even be talking about him
Yeah.
today, so at least now people are still talking about him because of his stand he took.
No, there was definitely a lot of hype. I read that from like the time that the ad went out to like a month later, there was like 1 million like hashtags on like Twitter. Like that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Something like this could cause that much talk.
Well, people like drama.
Yeah,
People like
that is
controversy,
true.
so.
Especially on Facebook.
And Twitter is so easy to just type a little thing and just send it out, and then the whole world could see.
I guess people like when there's two sides, people that are, for it and people that are against it, 'cause, people like that,
Yeah.
kind of,
Seems like it these
figure
days.
and stuff, yeah. Sort of drama.
I don't
They
know.
love it.
It's hard though because I feel like you can't really like for this like situation. It's like hard to take a side. Like yeah, like I don't think he did it the right way, but like yeah, like I feel
Like he
that,
was standing up for
needs to be
something
done.
good, but he was also
Yeah.
doing it in the wrong
Wrong way.
platform and the
Wrong
wrong
platform.
scenario by kneeling in the national anthem.
Yeah.
So
But that was his choice to do that.
yeah,
You know?
that's what he did. So is what it is. I
That's
guess.
what he did. Yeah.
I believe that.
You have to stand up for, I guess, what you believe in,
Something,
but.
yeah.
That was the gist of it, yeah.
Wait, pause it.
Can you